And what was that?
They were. Do you know what was said?
I need to know it.
Go for it, Seaway. Sorry, it was a movie production. Go for it.
This situation is layered, right?
It is.
Blake was trying to protect his little Susu, aka the advocate, aka Miss Pygmy, right? So he didn't want to throw her under the bus. And so he's trying to bring tea that he don't want to bring the whole tea. And people need to stop doing that in general. If you don't want to reveal your source and you're not comfortable revealing your source, and we all can relate to this, hold on to the tea. Hold on to the confrontation, because you're not really ready to address it, you know? But I think he's being cagey because he's not trying to reveal his source, and he wasn't trying to look like a petty patty over here, you know, acting like Ashley on Potomac over here spilling all the beans. So there's that. I also think that, you know, Jefferi is partially in the right, because she does not have to address something that's a grievance that's not properly brought to her. You know, like that's how people get flipped in these interrogation rooms with the police. They over here spilling stuff before they know what the other person knows. So she doesn't have to address a grievance that's not properly brought. But I will say she knew what the issue was, and she could have just went ahead and got it out, you know, got all the chips, put all the chips out there if she really wanted to dead it, because everyone knows what happens and she knows good and well what his problem was. And I think, to y'all point, the guy's point, that she has Blake living in her mind rent free. She doesn't want to address it. And instead of addressing it with him, she goes to go talk to Susu and Demario, who had no interest in the conversation. And she could have took all of that energy and kept it with Blake, the person who was addressing her. Because for me, if I'm going to take her stance, you didn't bring the grievance. Because you didn't properly bring the grievance, I'm not addressing it. I'm not saying nothing about the crap for the rest of the night, because it's not my problem. If that my stance, if it's not my problem, I'm not going to anybody else to talk about it, because it's not my problem. She lost me when she left Blake to go and kiki and chat and go off on Susu. To me, that's giving bothered, but she was giving Blake unbothered. So I don't know. That's where I'm at, and that's why I said it's layered. I don't think there's a right or wrong person on both sides, but I think it's weird.
Can I go? I'm definitely with you, Seaway. I think we're gonna agree on this part right there. If you come to me with indirect, I'm gonna directly look at you and play a fool in your face, because you better be direct with me and tell me what your problem is, because I don't know what we're addressing. I could have said anything. It was a bunch of stuff that was probably said in this ladies' lounge. I don't know what part you mad about or whatever. So you need to exactly tell me what it is you're mad about. And he could have easily did that. I don't know where it came from. I don't know, already know who it came from, because we already know who your connection is. But you could do it without telling me such and such said this. And we could be hash it out right then and there. Also agree with you on this too, Seaway, is, sweetheart, all that energy you gave to Mario and Susu was supposed to be directed at Blake, because this is another opportunity that you had on camera to tell him that you don't like how he's controlling, he's this, even all that stuff that you said up in your confessionals, how he's a narc and all this stuff like that. You did not tell that man none of that in his face, but you had a lot of attitude from the time he came and picked you up. So all that time where you was getting all rah-rah and all this stuff, I got to leave my comfort zone, I got to come up here, why we got to go upstairs, why I got to do this, what you mean, what's this? All that could have been said, look, baby, I'm not feeling you. I don't know why we have to have this conversation. We can just move on as mutual, cordial people right now. You know, I moved on. You got your Susu, you do you, boo. It could have been left right there. But the fact that you walked all the way downstairs to the other person, his other connection, to start the beef with, that lets me know that you're bothered by him giving her the nickname and all this other stuff, because you're willing to do this in front of your other connection, which is another crazy move on your part. and you're wondering why you're at the bottom right now. Okay. And then when Susu asked you, well, what is it that he got caught in? You want to go on your confessional. Here she come with the cape and all this stuff like this. This is twice that you done came after women when it's the man's fault. You did it with Andre when Cynthia came over. Oh, these women is thirsty and all this stuff. Now here you go again talking about she caping when she asked one question on where he got caught, where you started stuttering like you got caught in that moment, trying to tell him what he got caught on. And I'm still confused on what he got caught on. He got caught in the play. What play? What y'all agreement that y'all had an alliance or something? What he got caught on, sweetie? He got caught giving somebody else a nickname. People change their mind all the time. Today I like chocolate ice cream. Tomorrow I like strawberry. I don't understand. Like, what's the point? Like, what are you saying right now? You gave a lot of energy to Sue-Ann, which should have been all directed to Blake. Or better yet, like Seaway said, none at all for the rest of the day. Baby, I went back down to my little connections, danced my little heart out, let Mark Anthony fill up all on me and stuff like that, and have me a good time on the rest of this boat. I'm not about to be bothered by a man I do not want, do not care about. So that's let me know that you do actually feel something from, and you was mad that he said whatever he said, and you translated it in your head, whatever you wanted to hear, and you went back, and he done started making a connection with somebody else. That's what it gives me. Now, I could be all the way wrong. I'll take that. But that's what I'm getting from it. And for the fact that she likes to tell these nice little stories of how she grew up on the farm, yet she don't do mechanical animals. She don't do real life animals. She don't do this and she don't do that. I'm like, okay, you like to embellish stories a whole lot. So I could see that he did call you and say, how was your day? How was this date? How was that? You know, and you went, oh my God, he is too daggone controlling. He is too much. And he's a narc. And I'm like, he's a narc, sweetheart. You the only one Biden for attention all up and through this daggone boat, screaming his name every 5 seconds. And then you get to the end and say that he put you in the bottom when there's like 7 other men. Okay. All right. All right, Jeffrey, we see you, girl. Well, you know, I could stand wrong, though. We'll see. We'll see what it comes next week.
I think we really got to stop throwing this narc word around, because we're going to take away the emphasis of it when we just throw it around. And Jay, I think you made a good point. The fact that she had the opportunity to call him a narc and all these things and aggressive, controlling, and she chose not to me is usually a sign that somebody is lying or embellishing. Because if you guys are all in the same room, that is the perfect opportunity to address grievances. And that's what I said last week. I said that Jefferi's giving me red flags, that she didn't say nothing to Blake, but she waited to go to the ladies' lounge where he can't defend himself and say all of these things. That to me is weird. I still think Sue-Ann is a huge pick-me, but I mean, that aside, we're talking about Jefferi. I think she's
I disagree at that moment, but she could be, I don't care or whatever. But I'm gonna keep that same energy I had for Corvea the last time when she went around telling everybody about Lyndon and all this stuff like that. Like, if you do not, I can't rock. This is me personally. I cannot rock with people. If you don't like somebody and you got to go and taint them to the rest of the group or to other people just because you don't like them, you are more the problem than that person, in my opinion. Because if I don't rock with you, I just don't rock with you. But it's no reason for me to ruin your connection with somebody else if you have not done me or anybody I know or anybody, period, physical harm or like real abusive type stuff to somebody. There's no reason just because I don't like your personality, it doesn't match with mine. That doesn't mean I have to sit here and tell all my friends and everybody around me, hey, don't rock with that person because this, that, and the third. Now, if they're a thief, they're a drug addict, they something like this, and you know, I got to keep an eye on them. I'm going to warn you, you might want to keep an eye on that person. But if they ain't done nothing with me, my connection with you means nothing to your connection with them. I'm mature enough to be in the same group and just not really speak to them. Like, hey, and just keep it pushing. Like, it's that simple. We can all coexist in this world without having to taint other people just because I don't like you. And that's where I really have the biggest problem with this whole thing. I'll land my plane there.
Seaway, how do you feel about after diving into Jefferi, all of this femininity you put on her and her good energy? You still think she got good energy?
I think you misunderstood what I meant. When I said like femininity, I mean she oozes like that woman sexuality, like whatever Lola wants. Like she exudes that. Like she exudes a woman versus I think Mercedes exudes, I think, very pretty girl, but I don't think it's like a person who's kind of like in tune with their sexuality yet and kind of that energy. Yeah, like seductive. That energy. So that's
Yeah,
what
I'm with you on that. Definitely.
I didn't mean like fit, feminine, submissive. I didn't mean that type of femininity. I meant she seems to be very in tune with her power as a woman and how to use it. She's very in control of that, and that's something that you get the older you get. And I think sometimes when women are in their 20s, they're not as in control of their body, their sexuality, how they can control the space. She's one of the people who can get a man set up for the okie doke. Like she's like one of the, like she knows what she's doing. That's what I meant.
That's female. That's dark arts then.
Not
everyone wants to hear you hit the bridge.
Huh?
The chat wants to hear you hit a bridge real quick.
Oh no, I'm not.
They said they heard the love voice. They said, "Oh, the
when you went into your
I'm not a singer. And when I said energy, what I meant is that she's good for TV. Whenever Jefferi's on my TV, I'm laughing, I'm kikiing, I'm enjoying her presence. She has a presence, is what I meant. I'm not saying she's like the girl I would necessarily want to be with, but you can't deny Jefferi gives interesting energy, whether you like it or not. I'm entertained by that. JR don't want the smoke, so he don't like it, but it is interesting.
She's housewife.
Yeah, I think when we dug into it, then we were, because when we hear feminine and good energy, to us, at least for me, like what I was hearing is like she's a good person to date and be considered in this process. And definitely she's bringing a whole bunch of red flags, just her personality alone. The way she was conducting herself. So it just didn't, that's why I was like, I don't see femininity or good energy, but somebody said it too, like feminine wiles. That I see 100%, because that's a little bit of seduction, a little bit of luring you in and then pushing you out when she's done with you. You know, I could see that. And then, yeah, I could see some of her spiciness being entertaining for sure.
And if you like a little bit of toxic, like Kojo probably would be, look, get sucked in, okay? If you like a little bit of toxic, I think you're gonna kind of lean towards Jefferi, because it's clear to me that Mark Anthony likes a little bit of toxic, probably because he's a little bit of toxic. Because what is he trying to do with Jefferi? Nothing but play. So
can't lie to you, I'm not interested in Jefferi one bit.
So that's not your toxic vibe. It's a different type.
Her toxic is not the one I like.
It's not for you, right?
It's not for me. Yeah, I don't know what it is. It's not her toxicity that I like. You know what I mean?
I'm glad Drowsy G said it for me best. She's not thick enough for Kojo.
She got a nice shape though. She has a nice shape.
It's not just that's not fit, but the toxicity is not her. The toxicity is like, it's rude, and I hate rudeness. You know what I mean? Toxicity is not like you got trauma. We all got trauma, by the way. So, but it's this one. Her toxicity is like she gonna be rude, a little bit disrespectful, and I ain't really like that. Do you know what I mean? That's for me. That's not it. I don't know if the guys. I mean, Sean's my toxic partner. So, Sean, I mean, are you drawn in by Jefferi? I don't know what it is about her. She ain't got it. Morgan's my toxic. You know what I'm saying?
I was more drawn in by Kayla than I was by Jefferi.
I can agree. Might be a look thing. Who knows? Let me let the ladies go. Sophie G, talk to me.
Yeah, maybe that dark arts that she plays, maybe that entrapped Blake, because to me he seemed a little subdued in this interaction. I definitely felt like that she had something over him. Whether she had seduced him, whether something happened, whether he did tell her, you're the one for me, and then backtracked. But I felt like she definitely had, if it was a power play, that she had the upper hand in this. And it could be that she's probably very good at, seduction, as we talked about earlier. And that lack of, again, when I talked about, Arrested Development, it's like you can use your strengths for good instead of bad. So you're lacking a little bit of maturity there, and using your powers, your natural given talents towards bad things instead of good things. So I feel like she's definitely not at the level that she probably should be if she's ready to love, more like ready to mingle. But yeah, I don't know if any of you feel that way, but I felt like Blake was actually quiet, a bit hurt, a bit timid, where I haven't seen him like that at all. He was actually rude the last time he let one of the ladies go a couple episodes ago. I was like, man, this man is really rude. He's, like lacks emotion. But here, unless it was editing, he was very, he was hurt. I believed him when he said he was hurt. And maybe she trapped him in and spat him out, and now he's on the other side of the game.
I peeped that too. I definitely peeped that.
Fair
He didn't want
point.
the smoke.
He didn't want to swing. I agree. Sam.
I kind of disagree with almost everybody today. I feel that I'm going to start with the stuff I agree. I agree with Siwe and Jay when they said that there's something about her, like we could see a lot of tension. She was very tensed whenever Blake came and picked her up, and whenever she went and talked to Susu. I felt like she showed a lack of maturity. I would say that she was also almost petty when she went back and talked to Susu and to Demario. But then a part of me was feeling that something happened with Blake, right? Something happened with Blake. We don't know what it is. My personal guess is that Blake likes her. They started liking each other. Something happened that threw her out. I think that when Blake took her aside and he wanted them to speak, I thought that he thought that she was going to start speaking so that he could now basically tell her, you shouldn't have done that, etc., etc. But when she wasn't giving him that energy, it took him off track. Everything that she said, well, she didn't say much to him, but whatever Susu told him that she said, that he said to Jefferi, he never denied it, right? So for me, I felt like he was uncomfortable because there was some truth to what Jefferi was saying, in my opinion. I also doubt that Jefferi is jealous of what's going on between Susu and Blake because Blake is not interested in Suan. I think that what Blake sees in Suan is an ally. I think that he likes her as a person, but I don't see an attraction. I think that Blake likes Jefferi because she has an energy that's basically eating him in. I think that he really wants that lady, and that's why he's acting subdued. When he don't like you, he has that strong energy, like we've seen him have on episode 1, on episode 2. Now suddenly he found more than his match. And not only she's more than his match, but she is not even able. All I'm going to say is that I would have been on Blake's side if Blake was able to tell her directly what she said was not true. And I wonder why you went and lied to suit the ladies in the confessional. He never did that. That's my point. My other point is that I think that she was petty when she went to Suhan and Demario, but I think that she did it because she wanted to confront Susu, because she knows that Suhan went and told him. So I think that she went there because she was trying to tell him, well, you went and told him what's going on, which I don't think she said that, but I think she went back to her to tell her basically, well, we talked and he didn't even want to tell me what was his problem. That's what I think she was doing. I don't think that she really wanted their opinion. I think that she just wanted to bring up a fight, which is why I think that she has a lack of maturity. She knew exactly what she was doing. I think that there's more to the stories that hopefully we will know about, but I do think that Blake likes her more than she likes him. I'm actually starting to think that Jefferi is just not that serious, honestly. That's it for me.
All right. I just wanted to say, like, I definitely don't see it for Jefferi. Like, I don't see what the attraction is, to be fair. The attitude, the energy, and even when she is being nice, it just seems so superficial. But I don't know her personally. It's just my assessment, right? I think she definitely tries to talk down to people or think she's above people. And I've got that from the interactions I've seen from over the course of the last few episodes. So when she was told that she was in the bottom, again, she brought Blake into the equation by saying, yeah, I bet Blake put me down. He doesn't have that power to do that. Yeah. Like, even if he was the one that said, yeah, I think Jefferi should go home, you got like, what, 4 or 5 other guys there. So they all had their opinion of her, which didn't align with what she thought either. So she may think she's the prize and all of that stuff, but I think in her interactions, she seems quite flawed to me. And that's human, that's natural. But with the interaction with Blake, when Blake pulled her to the side, I think he wanted her to actually repeat what she said to the ladies rather than what Susu said to him, right? I think even though he wanted to pull her to the side, I don't think he wanted an aggressive, elevated argument about it. I don't think he wanted to cause a scene. The reason why I think that is because he's been in the bottom every single episode. So he knows that if he gets into a confrontation with her, he's definitely going home. So I'm not saying he wants to definitely stay on the show, but I think he wants more time to get to know some of the ladies without getting into a confrontation with someone who he obviously doesn't get on with anymore. So when she decided that she wanted to play dumb, she wanted to play smart dumb cat, which is basically, oh, what specifically is it you heard? Yo, it wasn't anything specific because it was everything you said. There wasn't one thing. It wasn't just one minor thing where you said, yeah, Blake is da-da-da-da-da. No, you went in on Blake hard in the ladies' lounge. So, yeah, and it may have come as a surprise to him because he wasn't there. He wasn't present. So maybe he's surprised that she went that hard in trying to destroy his credibility with the other girls, like leave a cloud over him. Yeah, Jefferi, to me, I just don't see it. I just see bad vibes, bad energy, and I don't like to necessarily think of her that way because, like I said, it's nothing personal. But out of all the ladies there, she's the one that seems to be courting the most drama, and I know the producers might like that, but for me, it's like, nah, you're there to find a relationship, find connections. If some people you might not be feeling, but you just don't dismiss them in a way which is going to make them come back and vote you off. Yeah, like you can be civil about it, and there's a room for civil discourse all the time. You're only going to feel 1 or 2 people, maybe 3 if you're lucky. So yeah, and also to Jay's point, I'll just let my plane land on this. To Jay's point, she actually was brazen enough to go and dress down Susu in front of her other connection, which is Demario. Demario, right? So, and he just sat there sipping his beer and kind of acting like, man, all this drama. So that again is a turn off to someone like him. You know what I'm saying? He didn't even want to step in and defend her or anything. So yeah, Jefferi's doing too much for me. I know she has fans and supporters, but I'm definitely not one of them.
That's a fair point. Can't lie to you, it's a fair point. Any more additions on the Blake and Jefferi saga? Jay and then Sam?
Yeah, I'll just say this.
Then,
I'm gonna put my cape
sure.
on. I'm gonna put my cape on real quick. Hold up. Let me cape up real quick. Woo! No, but no, this is hypothetical. I really don't know. Y'all gotta, because I seen this a lot, and we had it in our Discord earlier. Why did he move upstairs to where everybody is? We're on a boat, mind you. A yacht, if you've ever been on a yacht, as much as it looks big, a lot of times it's really not. And then if production cuts off certain areas of the yacht, we only have so much space that we can go to. And I feel, me personally, I do feel like he might have tried to pull her away and went upstairs, and then everybody followed. And I think that's also why the conversation went the way it did, because if I want to address something that I gave you and I shared with you in private, I don't want to do it in front of everybody. So if everybody starts migrating to where we are for whatever reason they're doing it, and the production could be doing this play or whatever, I don't know what the case may be. I wasn't there. I don't know. I'm speculating, but I'm not going to completely open up and address it. And so, like I said, in that moment, yes, he should have opened up and addressed it. That's on him, because we have seen him in the past have no problem saying whatever it is that's on his mind, however he wants to say it. So that's why I feel like whatever went on and what was said was something that was near and dear to him, why he was so hesitant to open up and say it right then again to her, and was trying to get her to say what she said more so than anything. Because it shouldn't have been that hard to say, hey, you said I was controlling, you said I was this. Where did you get that from? That could have been simple like that and just had the conversation. But whatever it is that was said must have been something that he didn't want everybody to be in on. And I feel like he had a vulnerable moment with her, and she's been using it against him because she don't like something he did, some way he moved, or whatever the case may be. Now, that's just my opinion. Y'all don't have to agree with me. I'm not trying to make y'all feel any way about the girl. This is just what I'm seeing and what I'm gathering from what I see.
Sam and then Sean.
So Jay, I agree with what you said, the beginning part. I do feel that if someone wants to tell me what their grievance is, they need to be able to tell me exactly what I said that bothered you. That's, I think, the minimum that he could have done, but he didn't do that. And then another thing for me that makes me look at Blake on the side eye was that when Susu gave him the news, he said that he was in fear that people think he's controlling. So why would you be in fear? Maybe because somebody said that about you before? I don't know. I do think that I think that he really liked her. I think that he really liked her, but I think that she's playing game. I don't think that her doing all of that in front of DeMarco is going to stop him from continuing to pursue her. I kind of disagree with you all, gentlemen. I don't think that Jefferi kissing Mark Anthony is going to stop those men from trying to get at her, because I think that they may not, most of those people might not be really there to even really look for love, but they just want to mingle. So I don't think that DeMarco is going to stop talking to Jefferi because of what happened with Susu. Now, when it comes to Susu, I like the question that she asked Jefferi at the beginning when she asked her if maybe she misunderstood what was said. But I do believe that she's a pick-me because she took on a problem that was not hers because she liked Blake. If you like Blake, focus on your relationship with Blake, you know. And I wish that she didn't do that because she's going to have a hard opening. I don't think that Blake likes her like that. That's it for me.
Can I start off by saying I just completely detest that nickname Susu. I just hate it. You know, there's two things that come to mind. That Caribbean Ponzi scheme that people play and swap money. I think that. And then I think of my childhood going to South Carolina, and I swear my grandfather and his siblings used to call the hogs Susu. I just swear they used to do that. So every time I hear that nickname, I just had to let that out. It just drives me nuts. I don't like it. It doesn't sound affectionate. It doesn't sound like anything becoming. So I can't stand it. So I'm gonna call her Sue. But I know we're not talking about it, but I know we've been referencing Sue, and I'm sorry. I hope this is a safe space. I just had to get that off my chest. Drives me to drink. Jefferi and Blake. I gotta say, Blake handled himself very, very well. He was super measured, and I was surprised because I thought he was going to light her up, especially with his background in interrogating people. So yeah, I was surprised the way he handled it. I mean, I guess I could agree if we're going to be petty, super, super petty and in our petty bag, then yeah, I guess when somebody calls you out, if they don't tell you exactly what you said, then you can, goat them until they tell you exactly what, so you don't reveal anything more. Now, if you're going to be grown and mature, you know what you said about the person. So if you're being called out and you feel confident in your feeling and your opinion, you felt it enough to tell a room full of people and say it on camera. So I would say if you want to err on the side of maturity, then be ready to say what you said. You said it in a room full of people. Why would you be shocked that it got back to the person? Nobody has an allegiance to you. So that's the other side of the coin there. And I mean, yeah, she didn't have to go full on, but there was several things that Jefferi said about Blake that were things that I would say, like in a relationship or like in a dating scenario, is information he should have, right? So if you felt like he was controlling, you felt like he was trying to lock you in too quick, too soon, I think those are things that if you know you said it, then say it, right? Because this is stuff that he can walk with to be like, hey, listen, going forward, I know we're not a thing, but I felt very, controlled, or I felt very much stifled by some of the things that you said or how you acted towards me, and I didn't like it. So yeah, I did express some concerns. Here's one or two things that I can share with you. Like I'm grown and mature. If I talk about somebody, right, and they come to me and they be like, hey, listen, Sean, I heard some things were said about me and I'm kind of feeling some type of way, we're going to talk about it, right? Because if I'm bold enough to say it, I should be bold enough to own it, right? And then deal with whatever the repercussions may come, because I think too often people are so comfortable saying whatever they want to say, but then they don't want to deal with consequences that could come with that afterwards. So I think we should be careful. If you want to reside in Pettyville, then just be more measured with who you say, what you say, and who you say it to. Because if you say it in a big room where you don't have allegiance to everybody in that room, don't be surprised if it comes full circle back to you, right? And then be prepared with the consequences that could come from that. So I guess somebody's calling me out on my petty right now, but they're going to have to go to my voicemail. So that's my feelings about that.
Is that a house phone?
No, that's my ringtone on my iPhone.
Why is it giving?
Why you seem perturbed about? I do have a landline though.
Bring my line.
I do have a landline.
Because I'm like, who got the house phone?
That's my ringtone on my iPhone.
You need to
Ellen,
change that.
go away from me, an old person ringtone. Go away from me.
Yeah, you need to change that. Why is that your ringtone?
Jesus.
Someone really wants your attention, bro. Better take it.
Please go. Please go.
Got a little late night action.
Right.
Ain't nobody calling at this time that's sensible. Late night action, sir.
It's 10:30 in New York. What is going on?
Ask him again. Ask him, because they ain't reading their Bible, that's for sure. Okay. Any other thoughts, guys, on Jefferi and Blake before I shift it to Jefferi and Sue?
Lord, let's just shift it. I'm ready to get off of Jefferi and Sue.